Have yourself a merry Knicksmas, cause the Knicks damn sure did not. Let's talk about it.
Anthony for three.
We see Willis coming out. Won the NBA championship.
Have the first pick in the 1985 NBA college draft.
Season ends the hands of the Chicago Bulls.
Reggie Miller is tied the game. The Bulls are your world champions.
New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis.
Twas the night after Knicksmas. The red-hot Knicks were doused. Not a Knick fan was stirring, even after KP brought down the house. Coach Horney put together his lineups with care, and Knick fans just hoped that Kuz would be in there. As we all dreamed of a Knicksmas win from our beds, we only saw visions of Celtic three-pointers dancing in our heads. Rose did his thing, I will tip my cap, while Melo dribbled the ball so much, I needed a nap. Our defense was bad, Marcus Smart had a bloody nose, Melo led the scoring, followed by KP and D Rose. Knicksmas did not go as planned, no thanks to the ref's whistle. Is that Tony Brothers? Someone get me my pistol. But we have a big three, and a bench that's pretty damn aight. Merry Christmas to all, 2017 will be better, or to Phil Jackson, New York will wish good night. Merry Christmas, Knicks Nation. Welcome to the MadGood Knicks Show. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everyone. I'm Bar, that's TK, that's Jay. We're here to give you all the Knicks news all the damn time, even during the holidays. Hashtag no days off. The New York Knicks drop a big one at the Garden. Since we last spoke, they went 2-1, wrapping up a nice W against the Pacers, easily beating the Orlando Magic until they finally fell to simply the better team in the Boston Celtics. And that was a tough one because we were all with our families.
Yeah, we were
ready to watch the Knicks get that W. And we start off Christmas Day with that L. Guys, the end of the year is almost here. So taking into account what we've all learned from the Knicks as of this season, which I don't think it's a whole lot because they are so back and forth. I want to give out some Knicks grades for 2016. 2 months into the season, let's first and foremost address the starting five. TK, let me start with you. If you were to grade the Knicks starting five so far for the season, what would you give them and why?
Well, before we get into that, Merry Christmas, my brother.
Merry Christmas. Ho,
Merry
ho,
Christmas
ho, ho.
to all those at home as well. I know it could have been a little better this year, but it's okay. As far as my grade goes for the Knicks starting five, up until this point, I'm going to give them a B-. And a B- because I don't think they're quite there.
That was
on
my
the
high
second tier.
school average.
B-?
Yeah.
I think we were all floating around that New York City
Yeah.
public school education, right? What do you know? So I'll give them a B-. A B- because I don't think they're quite yet up to that second tier B level. They're just right below there. Just due to the inconsistencies that we've seen. Some nights they're hot, some nights they're just like lethargic. They don't know what's going on. Noah's been a question mark. Health on Joakim Noah's point, and D Rose and Melo been a little iffy.
Yeah, and I think that Celtics game kind of summed it all up in terms of how bad the Knicks could be, especially on the defensive end, and how good they can actually be as a collective team. Jay, starting five, give me a grade.
I'm actually going to give you a B. Just a solid B. Just fucking average. Seriously, man. Because when the Knicks are on it, especially that starting five, it's scary. And I have to say, I have not seen a fourth quarter where our big three dominated, unlike they did that Pacers game. That's the first game I've seen where legitimately, I believe we scored 32 points in the fourth quarter. 30 of those points were from our big three, being Porzingis, Melo, and Rose.
So don't you think that B is a little high?
No, I
For
don't.
average? I would have died for a B average in school.
I know, and you'd think I'd rub off on you a little bit more.
Yeah, you did. All the bad things. All the bad qualities.
Anyways, I think we're a solid B. Noah being the biggest question mark. I do like the fact that our 6-man and like our 7th man, they actually played better with our starting lineup than when they play with the bench. So I know starting 5 is usually what we include, but part of the starting lineup being maybe even the first 7 players, I would like to give us a B with
Interesting.
Jennings and KO
Interesting.
coming out.
Okay. I'm a tough grader. I'll say it off the bat. I'm giving these guys a C at the moment for having 3 20-plus point scorers on the team, along with journeyman like Courtney Lee and what we're supposed to get from Joakim Noah. I am a little bit disappointed at the lack of dominance that they should be putting on display consistently through the season. Let's talk about the bench and what grade you guys would give them. T, let's start with you.
To no fault of theirs, but more so Jeff Hornacek holding them back. I give them a C+. Now, on any given night, I could give them an A here. That's if the correct players play, which, as we do know, falls on Jeff Hornacek. I think there's certain times that he presses the right button to get the bench going, and there's certain times that he just has his finger on the trigger, but he doesn't push it or doesn't let go.
A lot of questions on why Billy Hernangomez didn't play in that Celtics game
Beats the hell out
when
of
he needed
me.
the offense, and he seems to provide that instant offense.
And that's why I give him a C+, because there's some nights that they look tremendous, and there's other nights that I don't see the players that should be playing.
Exhibit A. All right, John.
I'm going to give him a C-. When you see the bench come out, we theoretically know who the ball should go to. But at times, it's sort of a mix for me, because there's certain nights when the bench plays that...
A+.
No, yeah. You can arguably say that because they
They've won us
actually
a couple
run.
games.
They run the correct offensive sets
Yeah.
you're supposed to. Since there's no star player, the ball doesn't stop with one person,
Right.
and then it turns into an ISO play. They actually run the plays they're supposed to. But at the same time, when there's a certain point in the game where, sure, you're running the offensive set, but everything kind of just stalls and kind of waits down, like you don't know who the ball is going to. And right now, Quinn and
So,
Jennings.
and let me, and I want to just say, go ahead. You want to?
I just want to chime in really quick about that, and you don't know where the ball is going. With that second unit, it doesn't matter where the ball is going, because any one of them at any given point can put the ball in the basket.
Triangle.
Triangle, that's
Fundamentals
what that
of the
does.
triangle.
Because Lance Thomas has a hard time, even though his threes have been getting slightly better. You're still at 25%. Calm down, buddy. I'm having a hard time with Lance Thomas
Well,
unless he's under the basket, and still is a
That's
hard
what
time.
my point goes to the players that are playing on this bench. Do I
Yeah.
think he should be a bench player right now? Probably not. Is he on certain nights? Yeah, unfortunately. But I just want to speak on Kyle Quinn and Billy. They had a tremendous dynamic duo game the other night, I believe, against the Magic.
Oh, they did.
They were
yeah.
killing it.
Yeah, we had
That's- I wanna see that more
multiple
often.
players in double
Double
figures.
figures.
Yeah.
I wanna
And we
see that
needed
more
that.
often.
It was a very spread out offense. And that reminds me sort of a Celtics offense. Because don't get me wrong, Isaiah Thomas is a star. But
Who knew, right?
Yeah, but people still argue it's like, do they really have like a star player? This and that?
Right.
And they play team basketball.
Yeah.
And that's what's frustrating sometimes about the Knicks. I think we get along well if you saw like some of the live videos they had on Instagram. This is a team that the chemistry is there amongst just peers and amongst, just men and camaraderie. But on the floor, it's not translating just yet. Still early in the season for, to see everything come into fruition.
I'm going to grade this bench probably closer to a B+, and I'll tell you why. Because at the beginning of the season, and we posted this on Instagram, a picture of Mobb Deep 2.0, and that's our bench right now.
Yep.
Posted this on Instagram and got a lot of comments before the season started. Damn, this bench looks weak. And you know what? It did, because we had 5 rookies and no one really knew who the hell was going to pick up the slack.
Right.
All of a sudden, Brandon Jennings is playing very well as a bench point guard. Kyle O'Quinn is playing like a damn near MVP 6-man off the bench. Lance Thomas, he's coming around, but Kuzminskis has been doing his thing as well as a bunch of the other bench players. So I think that this team is overperforming for what we originally gave him credit for.
I like that B+, but going on what you just said, and the reason why I made it so low, and I just want you to see what you think about this. On any given night with the bench team, do you know who else is going to be playing besides Jennings and O'Quinn?
No, you're absolutely right. That's a good
That's
point.
something that scares me every night. You never know who else is going to play other than those two.
Yep, that's
No.
absolutely right. Here at the round table, guys, the Christmas Day closer. has a lot of Knicks fans upset because Carmelo Anthony brought up the ball as the Knicks were down by 3, and what did he do? Emphatically directed traffic and lost the ball. So I want to ask, oh come on, poor Ewing, he didn't do nothing.
That's what Bradley did to the fucking Boston Melo.
So I'm gonna ask you guys now, in terms of our closer, we've known Derrick Rose. He's won MVP. He's won an MVP award off this. He can close games. In fact, he can drive to the basket and also get fouled at a lot higher rate than Melo does at the end of games. So who does the ball need to go to at the end of these games? Is it Melo? Is it Rose? Is it somebody else? Jay?
With the amount of time that we had on the clock, it still should have been in Rose's hands, setting up the offense, getting people to cut. But, of course, us being the Knicks and having a star player like Carmelo, the ball does stop with him. He likes having the ball in his hands. He wants that type of pressure. But what we have seen is, even statistically, you're a better player off the catch and shoot, Melo. Just listen to statistics. It won a championship for the Warriors, bro. Listen to statistics. They've been doing it in baseball, bro. Listen to statistics.
We got you, John.
Thank you.
Sorry, what was that?
Statistics.
Statistics. Listen to them.
By
See,
statistics, he means Steph and Pete's wild card.
That's all he did. Come on.
what do you got here? Whose hands should the ball be in at the end
The
of games?
ball should absolutely, and I cannot say this enough, should be late in games, Joakim Noah's hands. That was a joke. Should belong in whoever's hot. So any given point, any given moment, the ball could be in either Rose's hands, Melo's hands, or KP's hands. The thing about Melo is he has to be more aware of who's hot at that given point. In the Celtics game, Noah. Again, here we go with Noah. Noah had a tremendous pass. I keep thinking about that damn pass, but no, that's not
that back door.
Back door, baby, back door. No, but Rose was getting to the basket with ease. He was getting contact. He was finishing like he is. He's a tremendous finisher. We all know that. Melo got the ball and thought he could play heroics again, play Melo ball. Didn't work out this time. He needs to know who's hot.
So
and
you're
know
not
who's
really
hot.
giving me. I'm not hearing an answer from you.
Any given night.
Because
it
you're
can
saying
be any one
it
of
should
those
be
three.
in whose hands is hot, but at the same time you're saying that Melo needs to have more self-awareness.
On who's hot.
That's a conundrum that they can't figure out clearly.
He can't figure out. The rest of the team can't figure out. And I believe Rose
If it's Melo's problem, it's the Knicks' problem.
I believe Rose was asked that question too. Can you roll that clip for me?
We had Melo with the ball. If coach wanted me to have the ball, I'll have the ball. But I'm not the coach or the coaching staff, and my job is to go wherever they want me to go.
That's basically Rose saying, yeah, give me the fucking ball because I've done this before multiple times, and I tend to drive into the paint more rather than just hit a jump shot.
Very diplomatic answer. I do think it should be in Rose's hand or whoever the point guard is. I understand about whoever has the hot hand, but set that person up. And then just
Melo.
make an easy shot instead of trying to force it or create your
Melo.
own shot. Yeah, that's speaking to Melo. So
Melo.
listen to the stats, bro.
So you're saying that it should be in Rose's hands?
Should be in Rose's or Jennings' hand. Whoever's out there as a guard, make a play for someone else.
What if Melo's the point guard? Melo.
Final question here at the roundtable. Let's talk about all-star voting. It did start just recently. We're trying to get our guys in there. So what we did here on the roundtable was we split it up. Our big three tell you why you should be voting for them for the all-star game. Jay, let's start with you.
KP, baby, you know I'm talking about you. I want you to be at that All-Star game.
Why?
The reason I want you to be at that game is because you're one of the more efficient big men out there. 45% field goal thus far, 40% from three-point, 78% free throws. You're getting the boards, damn near 8 rebounds per game, and close to 2 blocks per game. Now, if you look in the forwards in the Eastern Conference, he does have some competition, even from teammate Carmelo Anthony. But if we were to make the move to the center position, the 5, there is no competition in the Eastern Conference. Your competition is Dudu Lopez out in Brooklyn and some dude Bane from Toronto.
Drummond.
Who?
Drummond.
Man, he ain't shit in Detroit.
No way. I want to tell us from the heart, man. Why should they vote for KP?
Another reason you should vote for KP is because this kid is the future of basketball. And if you pair him with the best talent out there, even though his stats might be mediocre compared to some of the other players out there, his talent is going to raise playing with the other talent out there. So let's have him
Rising
ball out
Stars
there.
All-Star game last year, he did have one hell of a game. Almost won the MVP, had his team won.
Media court.
Did he make the case for All-Star?
All right, Carmelo Anthony this season is averaging 22, 6, and 3. I know not the best numbers, but we are 16 and 14. We are up in the standings. We are 5th seed, right? So let's talk about a little bit of the forwards who are above and below the Knicks in the standings. First, we have the Cavs, LeBron. That's a no-brainer. He's going to the All-Star game. After that, we have the Raptors, DeMar Carroll and Patrick Peterson. No and no to both. Celtics, we have Crowder and Amir Johnson. That's a no. The Hornets, who are the 4th seed, we have Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Marvin Williams. That's a no as well. Then we have the Knicks, Melo, right? Let's talk about him here. He has the highest three-point percentage in 2 seasons, which is 35%. His free throw is the highest in his career, which is 88%, which is pretty damn impressive. Hope he keeps shooting that way. Field goal is lowest as a Knick, but he's also playing with 2 other potential All-Stars. So we'll give him a pass there. As far as below the Knicks in the standings, we have the Hawks, Kent Bazemore, Paul Millsap. Millsap may be a bit of a threat here to knock Melo from that All-Star. He's averaging 17, 8, and 3, but I say no either way. The Bucks, Antetokounmpo, as far as I'm concerned, if you can't pronounce his name, don't vote for him. Anyway, we're moving on.
We're talking about Milwaukee's voting fan base versus New York.
Yeah, that shouldn't even matter. And 8th seed, we have the Pacers, PG-13 here, and Miles Turner. Yeah, I can see you make a case for Paul George, but they're 8th in the standings, so.
And Paul George, I think, might actually end up making the All-Star team.
Yeah, he'll make it,
regardless,
but
so.
like, they're barely making the playoffs, so.
Yep.
And 9th seed, which is the Bulls, let's just give them some credit here. They have Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson. Jimmy Butler's cool and all, but if y'all ain't cutting the playoffs, don't vote for them either. Like, there's just no point. You gotta
Statement
make
made. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up with the I think the biggest of the big 3 and Derrick Rose, the most important factor to why the Knicks started off the way they did. He is the X factor for any team that he has played on. Now he's played on 2 different teams and he has literally had to carry the load, less so here with New York. But we see that he is the true catalyst for the New York Knicks. I think that there's a huge case to be made for Derrick Rose to finally return to where he belongs as an NBA All-Star, putting up near 18 points a game. And I think that he is what makes offenses move. There hasn't been a single defender thus far that I've seen consistently shut down Derrick Rose in any game that he's played this season. That's my case from the heart. That's our cases from our Knicks hearts to yours. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Have a very happy New Year if we don't see you until then. That was the roundtable. Let's take it to the
welcome. Merry Christmas, guys.
Welcome! The prodigal son rises. Welcome to another wild card with yours truly. You know who it is already. This is Stefan. I'm Peter. And we're talking Knicks. We're talking Melo. We're talking the rookies. We're talking KP. So let's get to it. Let's start with Melo. The number one controversial topic when we talk about Melo is Melo holds the ball too long.
Isolation.
Phil Jackson got into trouble for
Holding
saying
the
it.
ball.
Everyone's saying it. So Melo holds the ball too long, he dribbles too long, and no one ever really finishes that argument or gives you a basis as to why that's a good thing or why that's a bad thing. But that's exactly what we're gonna do. Steph, tell them why it's a bad thing.
Every Knicks fan and their mother hates when Carmelo Anthony takes the ball and plays one-on-one. Now, I want to know, and he wanted to know, how does he perform when he holds the ball less than 2 seconds, when he holds the ball from 2 to 6 seconds, when he holds the ball 6+ seconds. Now, all across the board, when Melo is a catch and shoot player, his 3-point percentage increases, field goal percentage increases, and much better players. Here, black and white, what the fuck?
Yeah, basically, if Melo holds the ball for less than 2 seconds, he's a 50-40 shooter. That's legendary, like Steve Nash territory. That's an awesome player.
Top of the line player.
Anything over 2 seconds, he struggles to get over 40% field goals, struggles to get in the 20 to 25% in the 3-point range. Yeah. Those are the statistics of a shitty player. It's a stark difference in percentage when he holds the ball versus when he's not. So, I mean, that tells me that it's the ongoing problem of him not being integrated into the offense well enough. The guy should be more of a catch-and-shoot player, more of a driving, cutting man, and not necessarily an ISO player where you sort of leave him to his own devices and hope something good comes out of it. Because the statistics say that's really not the way he likes to play and not the way he should be playing.
I just think it's bullshit that people like Hornacek and the coaching staff, they don't want to get Carmelo butthurt and don't tell him, yo, Melo, the fucking stats say it. If you hold the ball less, you're going to be a much better basketball player. I mean, how else can you tell a guy, like, yo, don't do what you're doing? I can't tell Melo this because he's going to, he's a legendary endorsed player. Now all these players have so many millions of dollars. Can't tell him how to play basketball better, even if he could be a much better basketball player not doing what he does.
You're pretty grumpy saying that.
Yeah, because it's after Christmas, I got to wear this shit.
All right, moving on to the rookies. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Knicks have the most rookies in the NBA with five youngsters coming off the bench. No, they're not all coming off the bench, but 5 youngsters basically. Willie Hernan-Gomez leads the league among rookies in field goal percentage. Let's start with Willie. I'm loving this guy's game.
I'm loving, man. He's a textbook definition European player coming out, ball movement. I mean, he's got the turnarounds, the fakes, the passes, the footwork. It's great. Loving it.
I like your footwork, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got a lot of veteran moves out there. The one thing I would hold against him, which I would hold against all the rookies and a lot of rookies that come into the NBA, is one, the body's not there.
No.
And that sort of realizing that you constantly have to be an alpha on the court, constantly like holding down your own, holding down defensively, just really making a name for yourself and not sort of lackadaisical passes. We've seen that too with a lot of the bench players. They come in when the Knicks are up a lot of sort of telegraph passes, things like that. You have to take opportunities every moment, can't take anything for granted. So, okay, the next rookie we're talking about is Mindy, a fan favorite of ours all season long. Obviously, beginning of the season, his plus minuses were through the roof, so we got really excited. That settled down a little bit, but there's still a lot of good things to be said about Mindy. I like him. I like him off the bench. I like his shooting. I like his intelligence. His
moving
IQ,
without the ball, yeah, exactly.
But he suffers from some of the same old problems we mentioned before about bench players and rookies in general.
But that's fine. He's a rookie. Get to the weight room. That's all he needs to do.
And finally, we're talking my man Ron Baker, 3rd string point guard off the bench. Like I said, I like him off the bench. I am nervous when D Rose is hurt and it's just Jennings and Ron Baker's, because Jennings, I think, plays that 2nd string point guard position really well, comes in, throws in 12 assists, creates a spark. Doesn't really do that when he's a starter, so what do? I mean, if D Rose is injured, are we happy with Jennings and Ron Baker, or are we thinking Chase and Randall?
We have Ron Baker and Chase and Randall, 2 potential rookies. Brandon Jennings is a great 2nd tier point guard, but like you said, when he starts, it's a little risky right there. I'd see the whole Endauer Plumlee situation, get rid of one of those guys, see who's not really hustling in that area, and bring in all the point guards, man. The more the merrier. It's Christmas time.
All right, so that's the rookies for you. Let's move on to a very special sophomore, the unicorn by the name of KP. Comparing his stats this year to last year, you can see he's done better across the board in all the stats. Except one thing, field goal percentage is a little tough. Okay, he's shooting 40% from 3 so far in the season. It's still early. I think tired legs are going to see that number drop over the rest of the year. But I think Knicks fans should be happy. I think for his first 2 years, you compare him to a guy like Dirk, he's awesome. The one thing that we would like to see KP doing more, which is what the stats sort of support, is that in and out game.
Yeah.
Guards like Kyle Lowry, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, their field goal percentage is in the high to mid 40s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where KP lies right now. And he really shouldn't be dwelling around the guard area because he's not shooting like a guard. I think he needs more post opportunities to bring that field goal percentage up, give him some easier looks, integrate him more into the offense in an in and out fashion. Because right now I think KP's working too hard for his shots, even though he's talented enough to do so.
And that's exactly what Dirk was doing. That's exactly what he ended up becoming. He started having that backup game, that post of those fadeaway shots. You got to have that in and out. Mix it up. You're a stretch.
Knicks fans should be happy. First 2 years, Dirk's stats and KP's stats look almost identical. In fact, in some instances, KP is a lot better. His rebounding, his blocking. It took Dirk 13 years to get to his 2000, 2010, 2011 season when they won a championship. And where he set himself apart then is his field goal percentage. The guy was shooting over 52% all season long, 40% from 3.
23 points average.
KP's not going to be doing that. And I think Dirk found his place. They designed the offense around him, made him more of a catch and shooter on the 3, and really intelligently incorporated him into the offense. I think if they do that with KP, you're going to see his field goal percentage rise. You're going to see a lot of that inconsistency sort of wane away. And that's really the direction that we think KP needs to go. And I think that a lot of that comes down to the coach and integrating him into the offense, much like it was with
Absolutely.
Carmelo and his 2-second thing.
But this year, regardless, with all that being said, I still think KP's an all-star.
I still think he's an all-star.
Hashtag
You
all-star.
gonna vote this guy in
NBA
or
vote,
what?
baby. Let's do it.
Don't be a bitch.
That does it for the wild card.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and check out these memes.